Welcome back, students. Video number 2, comparing the difference between human skeletons and chimpanzee skeletons. Okay, once again, please follow along with the notes. I'm going in the order of the notes that are posted in Google Classroom. Next thing I'm going to talk about is the neck area, the neck region. Humans have a very elongated neck. You can see our necks with our heads and our shoulders. You can actually see it. With chimpanzees, they do have a neck, but there's not as much space between their head and their shoulders, especially when they're sitting. They don't have a long neck area. And we have a much larger, what's called a hyoid bone. This is our hyoid bone right here. Ours is a lot bigger, okay? And for chimpanzees, their hyoid bone is right there. It's a floating bone in our body. It's much smaller. Because of that, our elongated necks and our large hyoid bones, this allows us to have more room for a larger voice box, which allows us to make more sounds and have more space for our voice box and our tongue, which gives us the ability to have more developed language. Chimpanzees have a shorter neck, a smaller hyoid bone, which is less room for their voice box, less room for their tongue. I'm going to switch over here and use our human and chimpanzee skulls that are on the table to explain our next two. Okay, so this is the human skull, this is the chimpanzee skull. So looking inside the mouth of these animals, and this might be hard since I'm only doing this with one hand. If you look at the roof of the mouth right here, you can see that the roof of the mouth in a chimp is very, very flat. Okay, if I flip over the human skull and we look at the same thing, the roof of the mouth has more of an arch to it. Once again, that has to do with tongue placement for language development. A flatter roof of the mouth, it's harder to make different sounds. If you have a more rounded roof, you can make more sounds, which is why we can have more words and languages than other primates. In addition, there is a hole at the base of your skull right here called the foramen magnum. Foramen magnum, okay? This hole is where your spinal cord and your spinal column goes into your brain. If you notice in humans, there is a lot of skull and the foramen magnum is more towards the center of the skull. That is an indicator that we walk upright, which is called being bipedal, okay? In a chimpanzee, if we flip theirs over, theirs is further towards the back of their skull. Look how little there is of their skull, and that's where the hole is. This indicates that they are quadrupedal or walk on all fours. So when they found skulls of our ancient ancestors, this is one of the things that they look at is where is the placement of the foramen magnum to then make predictions on if the animal was bipedal or quadrupedal, including our ancient hominid ancestors. Speaking of bipedal and quadrupedal, the shape of our spines also makes a difference. So if I'm looking at a human, we have what's called an S-shaped curve to our spine. There's a curve in your neck, it comes out, it goes back in on your lower back and then back out on your buttocks region. So that is called an S-shaped curve to our spine. That is another indicator that we are bipedal or walk on 2 feet. If I scoot this over and we look at our chimpanzee has a C-shaped curve to the spine. Everything is a big hump or C shape. That indicates that they are quadrupedal and walk on all fours. Okay, last one that we are going to talk about. Actually, I'm sorry, we have 2 more. On the back of a human skeleton, you notice our shoulder blades are on our back. What this indicates by having shoulder blades on our back is that we stand upright and we need to have flexibility in our arms, more flexibility in our arm limbs in order to pick up things and pick up heavy things. In chimpanzees, their shoulder blades are on their sides, more on their sides than their back of their body, which indicates that they have to balance more weight in their arms and not that they're standing upright and picking things up. Finally, our rib cages. If we compare the 2 rib cages, you'll notice that the human rib cage, it's a lot flatter and narrower because we stand upright to take nice, big, deep breaths. and to help us balance. In a chimpanzee, the distance is it's more barrel shaped. They have a much wider set of ribs, and that is because they walk on all fours while breathing. They don't have to stand upright in order to get a nice deep breath. So those rib cages, you can kind of see it from this angle. Ours is very flat and long. Theirs is more rounded, barrel-like. All right, that is the end of video number 2.